Hey, so let's go ahead and keep adding to this application here, the tank game, if you will. Um, I have again code here for the tank, and in class last week we added a few um, blocks of code here on the zombies and in the tank itself. But I just want to really quickly, I want to talk a little bit about that because there were changes that were made, and I want us to have these changes incorporated into well our code. Okay, first off, the first change I made was this is for the tank. Notice we have here. I'm going to zoom in to the block where we're basically detecting to see if we're touching the zombie. If the tank is touching zombie 1, zombie 2, or some zombie 3, then we want to switch the costume to tank hurt, so that kind of like makes it flash a little bit. Here's the tank hurt. It's this yellow one. We want to switch that to the costume, decrease the health by 5. You can go by 5s or 10s or whatever you like. Wait half a second before we switch the costume back to the tank, not hurt. As a matter of fact, as the tank is losing more and more health, we could, in theory, have it degrade, like have it become maybe red as it's losing all its health, and then maybe draw some like cracks in it and create a few costumes. We can incorporate that a little later. So we have that again, and I believe the changes were in this block. I asked you where before I was. This is for the bullet or the missile. So when you start as a clone, a bullet and a missile are clones of the tank. You switch the costume, so you basically create a copy of the tank and then switch its costume to be either the bullet or the missile, and then have it move 10 steps in the direction in which the tank is facing. Excuse me. Now here I only had if touching zombie 1. So I've added a couple of ore blocks. So before I only had this in there. I've added a couple ore blocks, and I do that by first having one ore block. And the first argument in that ore block would be zombie 1 in there. And then rather than put zombie 2 here, I add another ore block where I've added zombie 2 and zombie 3 to it. And I added that in here to this ore block. So before only zombie 1 was hurting, or I guess when you shot a bullet at zombie 1, the bullet, as soon as it hit zombie 1, it would disappear. But that was not happening for zombie 2 and zombie 3. Now, if the bullet, which again is a clone of the tank, if it touches zombie 1, 2, or 3, it will wait 1/10 of a second and then delete itself. That's what it means by delete this clone. Otherwise, it will delete when it touches the edge. So that wasn't happening before. Now it should be happening. So every time I shoot any of the zombies, they should vanish. The bullet should vanish as soon as it hits the... And before, this was only true for the purple zombie. As you can tell, I'm not great at this game, right? Okay, good. The other changes we made in class, this is for the zombie. It was the damage. So for each zombie, we have this damage variable. Basically, anytime that, and this code again is for the zombie, which the zombies, by the way, they're clones. You have the original zombie, and it's probably hidden here somewhere, the purple zombie. And then to have it show up at different locations and move towards the tank, I create a clone. So it creates a clone, it shows up here and moves to the tank. When it gets deleted, it will create another zombie somewhere else and then move to the tank. Another copy or clone. So this code here is for the clones. They're always pointing towards the tank and moving two steps towards the tank. However, if the zombie touches red, that's the color of the bullet, we'll increase the damage by 1, and then we'll wait 1/10 of a second. So this is a new piece of code that wasn't there before. That's the reason for doing this is because, again, the processing of this commands happens at a rate so fast, so the computer's checking all this so quickly that it could, if the red bullet is in contact with zombie one for half a second, it could perform this check multiple times and change the score, run up the score like 1, 2, 3. And so what we want to avoid is for that to happen. When the red bullet touches zombie one, increase the damage by 1, so move it up by 1, wait a tenth of a second, and then carry out the other checks so that the bullet has time to disappear and we won't run up the score. So what does this do? It makes it so that it takes 3 bullets to kill a zombie, and we'll talk about that's over here in damage greater than 2. However, if a missile, that's the color of the missile is this kind of like what is it, fluorescent green. If it touches zombie one, then set the damage, set it to 3. So instead of changing it by 1, adding 1, we're gonna set it equal to 3, which then will make this block take effect. If the damage is more than 2 on a zombie, on a clone, on a copy, if it has received more than 2 for damage, then we'll specify a new starting location, create a new clone, a new copy. Notice that showed up right now when I clicked it, and then delete this copy. Again, we're dealing with copies here. This is one copy. This, when it gets shot, it deletes itself, and there's a new copy, a new clone that comes up. Every time a clone starts off, it is set to a damage of 0. So right here, I don't believe I can shoot it. But every time, so in theory here, the red bullets, it should take 3 red bullets to kill a zombie. Or if anything, you shouldn't see it die with 1 red bullet. I don't know if I've implemented it for the other sprites. Let's take a look. So let me zoom out here. A student suggested that I zoom out so that they can see where I'm making these changes. And I am in agreement. Okay, so here it is. When I start as a clone, notice there is no wait after I change, so I do need to make the addition to this zombie 2. We'll wait 0.1 seconds. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. And then I'm actually, instead of damage equal to 3, I'll set it to greater than 2. Greater than 2, and I believe that should take care of it. This one moves a little slower at 1 step every time. And I believe I need to make this change for zombie 3. I'll zoom out again. That's happening in here where I start as a clone. When the red bullet touches the zombie, increase damage by 1. Wait 1/10 of a second, so that's 0.1 seconds. And then again, I want to change this to a greater than, so we'll go to operators and choose the greater than. Greater than 2. By the way, if you want to make a certain zombie harder to kill, so maybe the red ones, they're just going to be harder to kill, you can increase this. The damage on the zombie has to be greater than 5, and then it's going to take much more. 2 missiles, for example, you're going to have to, oh, well, this actually wouldn't quite work, right? Because if the missile hits the zombie, we set the damage to 3. And then if another missile hits the zombie, we again set it to 3. So maybe we'll want to change this by 3 instead. Let's see. The red zombies are going to be harder to kill. Notice that I shot it with a bullet right now. And then sometimes they disappear. That's a little odd. I don't know if they sense the color with their... Oh, you know what? I think it is. I think they might be sensing the smile on the zombies is red for all of them. And maybe it confuses that with the color of the bullet. I'll change this back to 2. That might be it. Because sometimes the zombies, when they run into each other, they kill each other, and it was a little odd. And it's very likely that the zombie itself has a smile that is red, which may match really close to the bullet color. It's possible. Okay. Anyways, I'll go over the few other changes that I want to make in the next tutorial video. So I'm going to split this up into two tutorial videos.